doesn't make any sense for TuneCore to be just a distributor of my company's music and to have 3.14 million views over the allotted time from 2020 um, to 2026 when I just got back into my account after the fraud. Um, Now, again, and the racketeering of lawyers and whatever else for me to actually have to lose my house to pay lawyers to get everything back doesn't make sense at legacy. Whoever just made this mistake, it's definitely a Ponzi scheme. But again, to Dan Dean and the judge and um, or the judge Dan Dean and stuff like that, it goes grandma, or it goes mother, kids, grandkids, and Audrey Joyce Yule was the mother. Darren is the kid, and then it goes grandkids. So the person of interest goes to the next descendant, the deceased to the descendant, and it isn't making sense lawfully in political words. And so forcing corruption past the word, the person of interest, in this judgment paperwork, and there's two different judgment paperworks, and I'll go through this in the next video, that Connie and Darren, my aunt and uncle, tried to use the old living trust, which is like a will, but it's called a trust, to manipulate Dan Dean or something in the courtroom prior to the judgment of the property split at the quick claim deed. And so now that I found fraudulent behavior in two different contracts sent to me in this judgment, whoever this Bates is just sent four pieces of letterhead with the same piece of paper in it. Now, I don't know what mental illness he has, um, but I'm about to take it to the police station and have Matt Coran investigate it backwards, because whatever whatever's happening here isn't logically profound in terms of what Dan Dean's doing to the person of interest. Again, it goes mother, kids, grandkids. I'm the grandkid, so it goes from Audrey to, Darren, Bruce, Connie, Craig, and Candy, the five kids, and Darren was the first descendant, which would be the person of interest, the person that went to file the quick claim deed. And so, in that, I didn't care which side of the property I got, if I got the cabin side or if I got the tiny home side that Grandma was residing in. But to whatever it is they're doing, I'm just having a tough time believing corruption when the person of interest or a person in interest would be that person, um, that would be the next in the family tree, in the family tree. So it goes mother, kids, grandkids, and so it just being me and Darren on it, I caught two fraudulent behaviors within both of the system, and why ever Darren tried to proclaim the old living will trust to what the new one was created, the new trust that Grandma created when she moved up here, because nobody came up to take care of their own mother. I was the one who got stuck doing it. And so there's a lot of labor hours, mowing the lawn, cutting down trees, putting in a driveway, building a tiny home that, I would want to get back, um, which, again, is fair at what this is now, but proclaiming a judgment, again, you have equity. There's never been a mortgage on this property. It was built cash. It was paid for with cash, built by my grandpa. It makes no sense. There was no loan. There was no mortgage. A foreclosure is only based off a debt. A mortgage is a debt started with interest. Um, Equity loan, which is what the judgment's coming from, doesn't make any sense either for them to put it in foreclosure, because it wasn't a second mortgage. It was equity. Equity is asset. You can't foreclose on asset. I still have asset, and I haven't even used half, or Grandma, Audrey Joyce Yule, didn't even use half to what the assessment, what the appraisal would be of the property. Um, and again, according to the market value at 189 that my realtor put it up for, um, to the market value at, damages my schizophrenic mom had did to the property in the last year or two of her life. Um, it's not making any sense to me on how a judge doesn't comprehend the first descendant versus the second descendant, um, of the deceased, which would be Audrey Joyce Yule. And now that I've gone through the grieving process, here I am on my OmoneyRecords YouTube channel, and my personal life of, somebody screwed around with the account. Um, with my accounts, I have 2 hacked computers, a laptop, which I just called Apple to recorrect so I can have it restored or rebooted, which they proclaim as not available, which again, the computer's, not even 10 years old, barely 10 years old. For some reason, they said you can't restore it after 7, is what the Apple Care guy said. So I can't even get my laptop restarted to get my TuneCore money out, which is what's left after the 3.14 million streams on Spotify. And if you do the data research between the royalty payments missed from BMI and the Spotify payments in iTunes of those songs, somebody fraudulently took illegal money out of my TuneCore account, which also needs to be investigated. So they're making me lose my house, and in terms of now they're putting a foreclosure on an assetted property. Again, there's no mortgage on it, and it's not foreclosure. It would just be a loan. And again, I didn't even get an offer from Summit Credit Union to reopen the loan or get the mail from the USPS stating that I needed to start making payments. Grandma had only passed 2 years ago, and the judgment only started the 1st of 2026, which was the year. And I never even received one piece of mail from Summit Credit Union for this. So if any lawyer friends or celebrity friends want to come help me out, there's tons of economics here I'll win in terms of an appeal for the judgment, to have it reopened so I can see why it had gotten so bad. 1, 2, USPS mail potentially being manipulated by either a Postal Service member, one of the police officers at the Black River Falls Police Department, or my uncle in fraudulent behavior, which would be felonies. There's economics for investigation there, as well as, I need my unemployment. I've never collected in my life, saving up to this point, because I had a disabled mom living off Social Security, and I've never collected unemployment in my life for me to be able to get my unemployment, which should assist me in paying off the judgment, and assist me in turning my electricity on and being able to take a shower. So if there's any females out there that has a lawyer, between $5,000 and $7,000, I should have like $150,000 in my unemployment. I'll easily pay for it if you want to send somebody out here from Cali or Michigan, or any of my friends at Birdman or Eminem, or anybody that want to come play the games of politics. I really don't think you guys would want this to happen to your kids. And I can't figure out why Dan Dean himself can't figure out the first descendant, the person of interest, which would be the first person that went to Daniel Radcliffe, a lawyer that wanted to pursue the quit claim deed at the property split. That's the person of interest, or in interest of the property, as the first descendant. And they had proclaimed over the interview, over the phone conversation of the circuit court process of the judgment between Summit Credit Union and Dan Dean, the judge of Black River Falls, for the judgment of the property, that the judgment should go to the person in interest of the property. And for some reason, they put it down to the second descendant versus the first, and it doesn't make any sense. So again, there's at least one appeal win, and then again, assist me with one bankruptcy help. File for one bankruptcy at the assist of helping me file for my employment, which I've never collected in my whole life. And if I could have somebody come help me do that, I'd appreciate it. I've never collected in my life. There should be $120,000, $150,000 there, which will pay for the lawyer, pay for anything where it shouldn't come out of your pocket, and I can pay you right back. I just need the assist and asset to what this defamation is being proclaimed. And now again, they're playing with me, playing against me at Health and Human Services, which is inhumane. They just gave away my truck, and again, they're trying to trap me in contempt to the child support, so I have to be locked up. While I have assets, I have a camper, a car, my truck, which they illegally gave away, and so there's at least 3 or 4 lawsuit wins against Health and Human Services, an appeal win against the judgment because they didn't put it to the first descendant, which is the person of interest in the quitclaim deed at the property split. And for anybody else out there that wants to learn about this information, Britney Spears or anybody else, so they don't do this to your kids at the end of your life. I know you seem like you have multi-millions now, but if they ever play with your kids later in terms of these type of judgments and harassment at child support and everything else, it doesn't make any sense. So baby mama, if you're out there watching, in terms of the drama club, they don't want me to protect my daughter. They don't want me to have a car just in case she calls me after getting molested or whatever else. They're trying to entrap me illegally using the. They're doing the same thing they did as when we lost the house, except for this time, I'm not on drugs, 10 years sober, abstinent, um, making sure I take care of priorities, and now the state side and everything else is going into this weird attempt of no comprehension of their own vocabulary in these contracts. And it's quite embarrassing to the system, where I know I'll win the appeal if I went after it. Um, in terms of the judgment, if my truck was actually sent off to police auction, baby mama should be paid for. Every truck on Facebook Marketplace that's a 2004 Ford Excursion is going for the minimum of $4,000 or $5,000. I only owe $5,700, so the child support should be completely paid off right now, so I shouldn't even have to go to court for the next judgment of that side of the child support, or be held in contempt of that. And I just want to keep everybody up to date of the illegal activity happening in Black River Falls. I don't know why they'd want to collapse their just helping me get my unemployment and keep my legacy of OmoneyRecords here that I started here, um, as an asset to a lot of people in the community, doing cheaper DJ shows than your other DJs here in town. I worked at the casino and stuff at my pricing, and just being a pretty fair, well-rounded guy. And if you don't like my pricing, being cheaper than everybody else, just being an asset to your community in a small town behavior, I don't understand why I'm deserving these defamations. Um, this attempted manslaughter from Health and Human Services for, you know, neglecting me, my humane rights, for food share and food benefits, and then 2 years later putting my deceased grandma's name onto a food stamp card, which again, she's deceased. She isn't going into Health and Human Services, filling out the paperwork. It doesn't make any sense. So the amount of mental illness I'm finding um, in Black River Falls, why ever they would want to collapse their own economy, just to try and racketeer a house for cheaper at some police auction, uh, for a house that doesn't have a foreclosure. It's asset. There's never been a mortgage on this property, only equity loan, which is asset. Equity. If you have equity, you can use the at least what, one half or one third of your equity on your house. It's assessed at 205. I only have 52,000. I should have gotten an offer from Summit Credit Union to reopen the loan, to buy myself a car and get a job, at the promise of making those payments. And for some reason, their legal side of the system, USPS mail, has been neglected, which is illegal and felonies. I'm in the middle of, I'm getting abused from police brutality from at least, 6 police officers. And then, as well as, they haven't given me my DVR back for my security system for my music studio. In this case, um, with my mom's passing, which again is an asset to me, but for whatever reason it's taken them 2 years, or basically 1 year now, um, for them to come to some judgment of what that case would be, and it's getting frustrating. So if anybody down in Madison or Birdman or Britney Spears or Eminem want to assist me with a decent lawyer, again, I've never collected unemployment. I've got tons of my timesheets here and my paycheck stubs and stuff of the hours I've worked. I should have $150,000 in unemployment sitting there ready to pay for the lawyering. I just don't have any money now. And for some reason, the deep state side, to unemployment, to Health and Human Services, they're in domestic abuse of me for some reason. And all I did was asset this community. And I put the house up for 189 from the assessment at 205, which is lower than the assessment. Now I just dropped it down to 120 because again, it's asset. It's all paid for. There's no loans on it, just so I can get this judgment and do this bankruptcy and get child support paid for. So that way, my ex-fiance and child can be taken care of. And so I just wanted to get you guys up to date on everything that was happening. And it's unfair to be in this domestic abuse and in general relativity. TuneCore, all the royalties I should have collected off that 3.14 million streams on my TuneCore account, there's money missing there. There's some fraudulent behavior from 2 hacked computers. And so in this case, those economics of whatever game they're playing, um, I shouldn't even have to use my unemployment. Um, uh, and whatever that amount of money would be on those streams, somebody illegally was withdrawing that money. And again, I have proof at CUNA Credit Union, Summit Credit Union, and as well as PayPal that I was never deducting that money. Uh, CUNA Credit Union or Summit Credit Union, the banks that I bank with, that I was withdrawing any money from that 3.14 million streams from 2020 to 2026, when I just got back into these emails and stuff in my TuneCore account to solve what had happened. And so if anybody has a decent lawyer out there, fraudulent behavior and these illegal crimes, I'd appreciate the help. And again, I've never collected unemployment. I should have $150,000 there, and I'm willing to contract it out if somebody has pro bono lawyers or fun games for these economics, which I don't consider fun because I'm about to lose my legacy. But sentimental disattachment to sentimental, I'm not too worried about it, but they're trying to blackball me and playing their racketeering child trafficking game, and I don't think they would be as persistent at this domestic abuse and retaliation if it wasn't the very same people in this town who are doing it. So to Birdman and everybody else, I know you guys don't like playing the lawyer games, but I at least have 4 wins here and potentially have a human trafficking ring pinned right now, from my observation and my own investigation, from some people that abused my mom, that put her into the mental ward, Mendota Mental Health, years ago. And I also have that documentation available to prove that I was human trafficked from LGBTQ members, as well as a hockey jock community, um, for child trafficking and racketeering, from before I was born. And because I don't know who my mom is or who my dad is, I don't know who my dad is, there's another side of this, um, to what should be the benefit to it. So if anybody wants to assist me in getting those royalties back, assist me in filing a bankruptcy for the judgment or getting the appeal so it goes back to the first descendant, as Dan Dean here in Black River Falls didn't do his judgment appropriately at the lack of comprehension to vocabulary, I would appreciate it very much. So again, my name's Owen Yule, the owner of OmoneyRecords, and I hope to see you guys soon. If anybody wants to come help, I'd appreciate it. Very humbled, very humbled. Let's do this. Let's do this. Red official, you look like a sleep paralysis demon and poop fart. I'm sober and abstinent, motherfucker. Ain't got no redner, no glossy eye, no crackhead yellow, no heroin fucking brown, no marijuana red, nigga. Shit, motherfucker.